Courtroom 600 in the Palace of Justice, Nuremberg. November 20th, 1945. The building survived the war because the bombers aimed for the factories and the rail yards. The courtroom itself is intact but scarred. Cracks run through the plaster. The heating system works poorly. Everyone can see their own breath when the doors open. 21 men sit in the dock. 2 rows of polished oak. They fill the space differently. Some sprawl, like Göring, as if the bench owes them comfort. Others shrink, like Sokol, as if hoping the wood will swallow them. The front row holds the famous names. The men whose faces appeared on newsreels. The men who shook hands with Hitler. The back row holds the administrators. The men who ran the cities. The men who signed the forms. The men who made sure the trains ran on time. Franz Zirach sits at the far left of the back row. He is 50 years old. His hair is thin and combed flat. Steel-rimmed spectacles rest on a narrow nose. His suit is dark, expensive, but not flashy. A banker's suit. A civil servant's suit. He sits with his hands folded on his lap. His posture is perfect. He looks like a man waiting for a train. The indictment is read in 4 languages. The headphones on each defendant carry the words. Zirach adjusts his headset with careful fingers. When his name is called, he rises smoothly. He pleads not guilty in a quiet voice. He sits down. He does not look at the spectators. He does not look at the judges. He looks at his hands. The prosecution team watches from their benches. They have studied these men for months. They know the front row intimately. Göring's drug addiction. Hess's memory loss. Ribbentrop's vanity. But the back row is murky. The back row is full of men who spent the war in offices, not bunkers. Men who gave orders by telephone. Men who never got their hands dirty. The prosecutor assigned to Zirach is a man named Thomas Dodd. He is young for this work, 40 years old. But he has already made his name. He stands and looks at the back row. He looks at Zirach. He looks at the file on his desk. The file is thin. There are photographs. Zirach at his desk in Vienna. Zirach at a Nazi rally. Zirach with other party officials. There are memos about housing allocations, memos about food distribution, memos about transportation priorities. Everything is bureaucratic. Everything is deniable. Dodd knows the charge. 65,000 Jews deported from Vienna during Zirach's tenure. 65,000 men, women, and children loaded onto trains and sent east, to ghettos, to camps, to gas chambers. But the paper trail stops at the city limits. The trains left Vienna under Zirach's authority. What happened after they left, his lawyers will argue, was not his responsibility. He was a city administrator. He handled housing and food. The SS handled the rest. Dodd closes the file. He looks at Zirach again. Zirach is taking notes on a yellow pad. His handwriting is small and neat. He underlines something. He looks up briefly, and his eyes meet Dodd's. Zirach does not look away. He does not flinch. He simply looks, then returns to his notes. There is no guilt in that face. There is no fear. There is only the calm of a man who believes he has left nothing behind. Dodd turns to his assistant, a young Army lieutenant named James Donovan. Donovan is 26 years old. He joined the Army right out of law school. He expected to be fighting Germans. Instead, he is fighting paper. "We have nothing," Donovan says, quietly, so the Germans in the room cannot hear. Dodd nods. He knows. The trial continues for weeks. The films are shown, the camps, the piles of bodies, the survivors who walk into the courtroom on crutches, on artificial limbs, on the arms of nurses. Göring takes off his headphones. Hess stares at the ceiling. Spear weeps into his hands. Zirach watches. He takes notes. His face does not change. In the evenings, Donovan goes back to the document center. It is a converted factory on the outskirts of Nuremberg. The Americans have seized millions of German records. They fill entire rooms. Donovan's job is to find something on Zirach. Anything. He reads through reports from Vienna. He finds complaints from the SS that Zirach interfered with their operations. He finds memos from Zirach demanding that the SS follow proper procedures. He finds letters from Zirach to Berlin, boasting about the efficiency of his administration. But nothing about the killings. Nothing about the trains. Nothing about the 65,000. Donovan starts to hate Zirach. Not for the obvious reasons. He hates him because he is going to get away with it. He hates him because he is smart enough to have left no trace. He hates him because he sits in that dock every day looking like a man who has done nothing wrong. December comes to Nuremberg. Snow falls on the ruins. The courtroom gets colder. The defendants wear extra layers under their suits. Zirach wears a wool vest. He still takes notes. He still looks at his hands. Then, on a Tuesday morning, a package arrives at the document center. It comes from Vienna. American soldiers found it in a house that Zirach used as a residence. Not his official headquarters. A private house. A house where he lived with his family. Donovan opens the package. Inside there are 4 leather-bound photo albums and 3 notebooks. The notebooks are filled with handwriting. German cursive. Small and neat. Donovan opens the first album. The photographs are beautiful. Vienna in color. The opera house at night. The Danube in spring. Parks filled with children. Zirach at a concert smiling. Zirach with his wife at a restaurant. Zirach with his children around a Christmas tree. Family photographs. The kind of photographs anyone might keep. Donovan flips through slowly. He is about to set the album aside when he stops. A photograph of Zirach standing on a platform. A train behind him. Crowds of people on the platform. Old people, women, children. They carry suitcases. They wear coats against the cold. They do not smile. In the foreground, a girl, maybe 7 years old. Dark hair, dark eyes. She holds a cloth doll. She's looking at the camera. She's looking at Zirach. Donovan stares at the girl. He cannot look away. She's real. She's there. She's holding a doll and standing on a platform and waiting for a train that will take her somewhere she does not want to go. He turns the page. There is a handwritten caption below the next photograph. Zirach's handwriting. Donovan has seen enough of his memos to recognize it. The caption reads, "Departure to Litzmannstadt. November 1941. Orderly process. Litzmannstadt. The German name for Lodz. The Lodz ghetto. 160,000 people crammed into a few square miles. Starvation. Disease. Deportations from Lodz to Chelmno. To the gas vans." Donovan turns back to the girl. He looks at her face. He looks at her doll. He wonders if she made it herself. He wonders if she slept with it. He wonders if she is still alive. He opens the second album. More photographs. Zirach at a meeting with Jewish elders. Old men in worn suits, wearing yellow stars, bowing slightly. Zirach at a warehouse, inspecting confiscated property. Furniture, clothing, suitcases piled to the ceiling. Zirach at a reception after the city was declared Judenfrei, free of Jews. He is holding a glass of champagne. He is smiling. Donovan closes the album. He opens a notebook. The first entry is dated January 1941. Zirach writes about a concert. Beethoven. He complains about the quality of the violin section. He writes about dinner afterward. Veal, good wine. He flips forward. October 1942. The entry is short. Vienna now officially free of Jews. A difficult task, completed with efficiency. A credit to my administration. Evening. Mozart at the opera. Excellent performance. Supper at home with the family. Donovan reads the entry again. Then again. He looks at the photograph of the girl. He looks at the words. A difficult task, completed with efficiency. The room is cold. Donovan realizes his hands are shaking. He is not shaking from the cold. He stands up. He walks to the window. Outside, snow falls on the ruins of Nuremberg, the city that hosted the Nazi rallies, the city where the racial laws were announced, the city where this man, Franz Zirach, came to pledge his loyalty to Hitler year after year. Donovan thinks about the girl. He thinks about her doll. He thinks about the train. He thinks about Zirach standing on that platform, watching, photographing, and then going home to write about the violins at the concert. He turns back to the desk. The albums are open. The notebooks are open. The girl stares up at him from the page. Her eyes are dark. Her face is serious. She is 7 years old, and she is holding her doll, and she is looking at the man who sent her away. Donovan picks up the telephone. His hand is still shaking. He dials the number for Thomas Dodd's office. The phone rings once, twice, 3 times. Dodd answers. Donovan opens his mouth. He tries to speak. For a moment, no words come. He looks at the girl. He looks at her eyes. "Sir," he says, "you need to come to the document center. Right now." He hangs up the phone. He sits down at the desk. He does not take his eyes off the photograph. The snow falls outside the window. The room is silent. The girl looks at him from 1941. She looks at him from the platform. She looks at him from the train. She holds her doll and waits. Vienna. March, 1938. The city is insane with joy. The cameras capture it all. Hundreds of thousands of Austrians line the Ringstrasse. They wave swastika flags. They throw flowers. They scream until their throats give out. When Hitler's open-top Mercedes passes, they surge against the barricades, like water against a dam. Grown men weep. Women hold their children up to see the Führer. Old veterans of the Great War salute with trembling hands. Austria has ceased to exist. The Anschluss is complete. Vienna, the capital of a defeated empire, the city of Mozart and Freud, the city of glittering cafes and decaying grandeur, is now a provincial town in Greater Germany, and its people could not be happier. Franz Zirach watches from a window on the Graben. He is 43 years old. He has been a Nazi since 1923. He joined when the party was a joke, when Hitler was a failed putschist in a Bavarian prison. He stayed through the lean years, the years when being a Nazi meant street fights and prison time and the contempt of respectable society. He is not a speaker like Goebbels. He is not a fighter like the SA men who beat communists in the alleys. He is an organizer, a planner, a man who builds structures from chaos. He looks down at the screaming crowds. He feels nothing like their joy. He feels satisfaction. The satisfaction of a man who placed a bet 20 years ago and is now watching it pay. The crowd below carries banners. One people, one Reich, one Führer. Zirach notes the craftsmanship of the banners. The lettering could be sharper. The red could be brighter. He makes a mental note. If Vienna is to be a proper German city, the details must be correct. He does not know it yet, but he will soon run this city. He will sit in the Hofburg, the former palace of the Habsburg emperors. He will sign orders that empty whole districts of their people. He will photograph the results and paste them into leather albums. But that is later. Now, in March 1938, he is just another Nazi functionary watching the triumph. 2 years pass. The war begins. Poland falls. France falls. The bombers appear over Vienna for the first time. Small raids. Nothing like what will come later. Zirach receives his promotion in August 1940. Gauleiter of Vienna. Party boss. City lord. He moves into his office in the Hofburg. The ceilings are 20 feet high. Crystal chandeliers hang above his desk. Portraits of Habsburg emperors stare down at him from gilded frames. He does not replace them. He likes the contrast. The old empire, dead and buried. The new empire, rising from its corpse. He sits beneath Franz Joseph and plans the future. His official residence is a villa in the wealthy district of Hietzing. It has gardens, high ceilings, rooms for servants. But he rarely sleeps there. He works. He works 18 hours a day. He works through meals. He works until his eyes burn and his handwriting blurs. The work is endless. Food distribution, fuel allocation, housing assignments, air raid precautions, school schedules, hospital supplies, the thousands of details that keep a city of 2 million people alive during wartime. Zirach attacks each detail with the same methodical precision. He creates systems. He writes procedures. He demands reports. His subordinates fear him. Not because he screams. He never screams. He speaks quietly, evenly, with the patience of a schoolmaster. But his memory is perfect. He remembers every promise, every deadline, every mistake. When a report is late, he does not shout. He simply asks, quietly, why the deadline was missed. The silence afterward is worse than any shouting. He demands the same precision from others that he demands from himself. His offices are immaculate. His files are color-coded. His schedule is planned to the minute. He eats the same lunch every day. Soup, bread, water. He wears the same style of suit year after year. Dark wool, white shirt. No decoration except his party badge. The other Nazi leaders think he is strange. Bormann calls him the schoolmaster behind his back. Goebbels finds him boring. Himmler respects his efficiency, but distrusts his independence. Zirach does not care. He does not need their friendship. He needs their respect. He has it. In the evenings, when the work finally stops, Zirach retreats to a different world. He puts on a tuxedo. He goes to the opera. He has a permanent box at the Staatsoper, the state opera house. He sits in the darkness and listens to Mozart, to Beethoven, to Wagner. He closes his eyes and lets the music wash over him. For 3 hours, he is not the Gauleiter. He is not the man who signs deportation orders. He is just a man listening to music. After the opera, he attends receptions. Champagne flows. Generals and industrialists and visiting party officials fill the rooms. Their wives wear jewels. They laugh too loud. They compete for status like children in a schoolyard. Zirach moves through them like a ghost. He speaks when spoken to. He smiles when required. He leaves as early as politeness allows. At home, in his study, he writes in his diary. He describes the opera, the quality of the singing, the conducting, the applause. He describes the reception, the people he met, the food, the wine. He does not describe the other part of his day, the part with the trains, the part with the deportations. That is work. That is administration. That is not worth recording. Except sometimes it is. October 1941. The deportations from Vienna begin in earnest. The first trains leave for the Lodz ghetto. Zirach goes to the station to observe. He stands on the platform in his greatcoat. The morning is cold. His breath fogs the air. The Jews arrive in trucks. They carry suitcases, bags, bundles. They have been allowed to bring 50 kilograms each. The SS check the weight. They confiscate anything extra. Coats, blankets, photographs. The belongings pile up on the platform. Zirach watches. He does not speak. He observes the process like an engineer observing a machine. The efficiency impresses him. The SS have done this before. The Jews board the trains in order, families together. The old helped by the young. No screaming, no resistance, just obedience. A woman catches his eye. She is old, perhaps 70. She carries a cloth bag and a small wooden box. She moves slowly, painfully, helped by a younger woman, maybe her daughter. As she passes Zirach, she looks at him. Her eyes are wet, but she does not cry. She looks at his face. She looks at his party badge. She looks back at the train. Zirach holds her gaze for a moment. Then he looks away. He is not cruel. He does not enjoy this. It is necessary. Vienna must be cleaned. The Jews must go east. That is policy. That is order. He is a man who follows orders. He pulls out his camera. A Leica, small, precise, German-made. He raises it to his eye. He frames the shot. The train. The platform. The crowd. The woman with the wooden box. He presses the shutter. The click is quiet. No one notices. Zirach lowers the camera and continues observing. Later that night he writes in his diary, "First transport to Lodz departed today. Process went smoothly. Some confusion with luggage allowances, to be corrected for future transports. Evening, dinner at home, read reports from Eastern Front. He does not mention the woman. He does not mention the photograph. He does not mention the look in her eyes. That is not the kind of detail worth recording. The transports continue. Week after week, month after month, Zirach attends as many as he can. He stands on the platform. He watches. He photographs. He notes inefficiencies. He makes recommendations. The SS learn to appreciate his attention to detail. He notices things they miss. A child separated from its mother. An old man left behind because he cannot walk. A family trying to hide a valuable item in a coat. He points, they correct. The machine improves. By spring 1942, 50,000 Jews have left Vienna. The city feels different, emptier, cleaner. Zirach walks through the Leopoldstadt district, the former Jewish quarter. The streets are quiet. The shops are boarded up. The synagogues stand empty. He nods with satisfaction. This is how a German city should look. He photographs the empty streets, the boarded shops, the silent synagogues. He will add these to his albums, a record of achievement, proof of a job well done. June 1942. He receives a visitor at the Hofburg, a young SS officer newly assigned to Vienna. He brings a file. The file contains photographs, not Zirach's photographs, other photographs, from the east, from the camps. Zirach looks at them. He sees bodies, piles of bodies, naked, starved, stacked like firewood. He sees trenches filled with corpses. He sees men in SS uniforms standing over the trenches, smoking cigarettes. He looks up at the young officer. The officer's face is pale. He has seen these photographs before. He cannot forget them. Zirach hands the file back. He speaks quietly. "This is not our concern," he says. "Our job is to deliver them. What happens after delivery is someone else's responsibility." The young officer takes the file. He leaves. Zirach returns to his desk. He signs a housing allocation order. He signs a food ration adjustment. He signs a request for more coal. That night he writes in his diary. Nothing about the photographs. Nothing about the bodies. Just a note about the opera. Fidelio. Adequate performance. The tenor was flat. The transports continue through 1942, through 1943. By October 1942, Vienna is declared Judenfrei, free of Jews. Zirach attends a celebration at the city hall. He drinks champagne. He accepts congratulations. He makes a short speech about efficiency and duty and the glory of the Reich. After the celebration, he goes home. He opens his latest photo album. He arranges the newest photographs, the empty streets, the boarded shops, the silent synagogues. He writes captions beneath each one in his neat, precise handwriting. Leopoldstadt, after cleansing. June 1942. Former synagogue converted to warehouse. August 1942. The last transport departs. October 1942. He closes the album. He places it on the shelf next to the others. 6 albums now, 6 years of work, 6 years of achievement. He goes to bed. He sleeps soundly. In the morning, he will go back to the Hofburg. He will sign more orders. He will attend more meetings. He will go to the opera. He will take more photographs. The war continues. The work continues. The machine grinds on. He does not think about the woman with the wooden box. He does not think about the girl with the cloth doll. He does not think about the bodies in the photographs the young officer showed him. That is not his concern. That is someone else's responsibility. He is Franz Zirach, Gauleiter of Vienna, administrator, organizer, photographer. He keeps records. He maintains order. He does his job. And in a villa in Vienna, on a shelf in his study, 6 leather albums wait, filled with photographs, filled with captions, filled with the proof of what he did. He does not know it yet, but he is building his own indictment, photograph by photograph, caption by caption, album by album. The machine grinds on. Vienna, April 1945. The city is dying. The Red Army surrounds Vienna. Soviet artillery shells fall day and night. The Ostmarkstrasse is a crater field. The Staatsoper, where Zirach sat through so many evenings of Mozart, burns. Smoke rises from 100 fires. The streets are filled with rubble, with abandoned vehicles, with the dead. Franz Zirach has not slept in 3 days. He sits in his office in the Hofburg. The crystal chandeliers are dark. The Habsburg emperors stare down from their frames, barely visible in the gray light. Papers cover every surface, reports, orders, requests. Most of them meaningless now. The Reich is collapsing. The front lines are hours away. There is nothing left to administer. He has made his decision. He will flee. Not west, toward the Americans. They will hang him. Not south, toward the Alps. Too far. He will go north, toward Germany, toward the British zone. Lose himself in the chaos. Become another refugee. Another nameless man in a crowd. But first, he has work to do. He opens the cabinet behind his desk. Inside, neatly arranged, are his photo albums. 7 of them now. 7 years of Vienna. 7 years of achievement. He takes them out, one by one. He stacks them on his desk. He looks at the covers. Leather. Brown. Gold lettering on the spines. Wien. 1938. to 1945. He cannot leave them. They are his life's work, his record, his proof. He cannot take them. 7 albums are too heavy, too bulky. They will slow him down. They will attract attention. Soldiers do not carry photo albums through the ruins. Refugees do not pack leather-bound books. He stands still for a long moment. The artillery booms in the distance. Glass rattles in the windows. He opens the top album. He turns the pages slowly. Vienna in color. The opera. The parks. The receptions. His wife. His children. The trains. The platforms. The empty streets. The boarded shops. The girl with the doll. The woman with the wooden box. He closes the album. He places it back on the stack. He cannot destroy them. He cannot. He finds a wooden crate in the corner. It once held files. Now it is empty. He places the albums inside, one by one. 7 albums. He adds his diaries, 3 notebooks. He adds a stack of loose photographs, not yet sorted. He adds the Leica camera, his tool, his eye. He nails the crate shut with quick, clumsy strokes. The hammer feels wrong in his hand. He is not a man who builds things. He is a man who organizes things. The nails go in crooked, the wood splinters. He does not care. He addresses the crate in large block letters. Private property. F. Zirach. Hold for pickup. He calls for his adjutant, a young man named Klaus, who has been with him for 3 years. Klaus appears in the doorway. His uniform is dirty. His face is gray with exhaustion. Take this, Zirach says. His voice is calm. The schoolmaster voice. The voice that asks about missed deadlines. Take this to my residence in Hietzing. Put it in the basement. With the other household goods. Klaus looks at the crate. He looks at Zirach. He knows what is happening. The Gauleiter is leaving. The Gauleiter is packing his things. The Gauleiter is thinking about after. Yes, Herr Gauleiter, Klaus says. He picks up the crate. It is heavy. He staggers slightly. Then he is gone. Zirach watches him go. He turns back to the desk. He picks up one last photograph. A small one, forgotten in the chaos. It shows a girl, 7 years old. Dark hair, dark eyes. A cloth doll. The platform at the Nordbahnhof. November 1941. He looks at her face. He looks at her eyes. He puts the photograph in his pocket. He walks out of the office. He does not look back. The Hietzing villa stands empty. The servants fled weeks ago. The windows are shattered. A shell hit the garden, tearing a crater through the rose beds. Zirach walks through the rooms one last time. The dining room where he hosted receptions. The study where he wrote his diaries. The bedroom where he slept after the opera. In the basement, Klaus has placed the crate. It sits next to other crates, household goods, silverware, paintings, linen, things that can be sold, things that can be traded, things that might buy a new life somewhere else. Zirach looks at the crate. He thinks about opening it, taking the albums, taking the diaries, burning them in the garden, ending it now. He does not move. He turns and walks up the stairs. Out the door, into the street. He gets into a staff car. The driver waits. They drive north, toward Germany, toward the British zone, toward whatever comes next. He does not look back. May 1945. The war ends. Vienna is occupied by 4 powers. The Americans take the western districts. The Soviets take the east. The British and French take smaller sectors. The city is divided, broken, hungry. American soldiers move through Hietzing. It is a wealthy district, full of villas that once belonged to Nazis. Now they belong to the United States Army. The soldiers go from house to house. They search basements. They find wine. They find art. They find silver. They find documents. Some of it is valuable. Some of it is evidence. Most of it is just stuff. The villa on Wattmanngasse is searched on a Tuesday morning. 3 soldiers. A sergeant from Chicago. A private from Kentucky. A technician from New York named Irving Gold. Gold is 23 years old. Before the war, he worked in his father's camera shop in Brooklyn. He knows cameras. He knows photographs. That is why he is here, in a basement in Vienna, instead of on the front lines. The basement is dark. The soldiers use flashlights. They poke through crates, silverware, paintings, linen. The sergeant from Chicago finds a case of wine. He whistles. He calls the others over. They start prying it open. Gold wanders away. He shines his flashlight into the corners. He sees a crate, plain wood, nailed shut. Address in block letters. Private property. F. Zirach. Hold for pickup. Gold does not know who F. Zirach is. The name means nothing to him. But the crate is here, in a Nazi's villa, marked private. That means something. He finds a crowbar. He pries off the lid. The nails scream as they pull free. Inside he sees leather. Brown leather. Gold lettering on the spines. Wien, 1938 to 1945. He lifts out the top album. He opens it. The first photograph shows the Vienna Opera. Beautiful. Pristine. A caption beneath, in neat handwriting. Staatsoper. 1940. He turns the page. A reception. Men in uniforms. Women in evening gowns. Champagne glasses. Smiles. Caption. Party reception. Hofburg. 1941. He turns the page. A train platform. Crowds of people. Suitcases. Guards. In the background, a man in a greatcoat. Franz Zirach. Gold does not know his name yet. But he recognizes the type. The party official. The administrator. The man who watches. Caption. Departure to Litzmannstadt. November 1941. Orderly process. Gold stares at the photograph. He looks at the faces. Old people. Women. Children. They are not smiling. They are not celebrating. They are waiting for a train. He turns the page. A girl, 7 years old, dark hair, dark eyes. She holds a cloth doll. She looks at the camera. She looks at the man who took the photograph. She looks at Gold, 23 years old, standing in a basement in Vienna, 4 years after she stood on that platform. Gold does not move. He cannot move. The flashlight beam shakes in his hand. "Sergeant," he says. His voice is strange. He does not recognize it. The sergeant from Chicago looks up from the wine. "What?" Gold holds up the album, the open page, the girl with the doll. "You need to see this," he says. The sergeant walks over. He looks at the photograph. He looks at Gold's face. He looks back at the photograph. He is from Chicago. He has seen dead bodies in the war. He has seen concentration camps. He thought he was done being surprised. "What is it?" he asks. Gold points at the caption. Departure to Litzmannstadt. November 1941. The sergeant reads it. He reads it again. He looks at the girl. He says nothing. Gold goes back to the crate. He lifts out more albums. 7 in total. He lifts out notebooks. 3 of them. Handwriting. Small and neat. He lifts out a stack of loose photographs. And at the bottom, a Leica camera. Small, precise, German-made. Gold holds the camera in his hands. He turns it over. He looks through the viewfinder. He imagines the man who used it. Standing on that platform, framing the shot, pressing the shutter, going home to write about the opera. He puts the camera down. He looks at the sergeant. "This is evidence," he says. "This is for the prosecutors. This is for Nuremberg." The sergeant nods. He does not ask how Gold knows. He just nods. They load the crate into their jeep, the albums, the notebooks. the photographs, the camera. They drive back to their unit. The crate bounces in the back. The albums shift. The girl with the doll slides against the side of the box. Gold sits in the passenger seat. He does not talk. He watches the ruined city pass, the bombed buildings, the rubble, the people in the streets, thin and gray, picking through debris for something to eat. He thinks about the girl. He thinks about her doll. He thinks about the train. He thinks about the man who photographed her, the man who wrote orderly process, the man who kept the photograph in a leather album on a shelf in his study. He does not know where that man is now, hiding somewhere, running somewhere, thinking he got away. Gold looks at the crate in the back of the Jeep. No, he thinks. You didn't get away. You left it all behind. Every photograph, every caption, every word. The Jeep bounces through the ruins. The crate shifts. The girl waits. In Nuremberg, 600 kilometers away, the prosecutors are preparing their cases. They have Göring. They have Hess. They have Ribbentrop. They have mountains of evidence, but they do not yet have Franz Zirach. They do not yet know that his own hands built the case against him. That will come later. For now, the crate sits in a military warehouse in Vienna. It waits with other crates, other evidence, other stories. But this crate is different. This crate contains a man's soul, his pride, his record, his achievement. 7 years of work, 7 albums, 3 notebooks, a camera, a girl with a doll. The man who packed it thought he would come back for it, thought he would retrieve it, thought he would keep it forever. He was wrong. The crate is going to Nuremberg. The girl is going to court. And Franz Zirach, sitting in a prisoner of war camp somewhere in Germany, does not yet know that his trophy has become his trap. He will learn. Soon. Nuremberg. December 1945. The city is a graveyard. 10 months after the surrender, the old town still looks like the moon. The castle on the hill is a skeleton. The churches are hollow shells. The beautiful medieval houses that stood for 500 years are piles of rubble pushed to the sides of streets. The people who survived live in basements, in cellars, in any hole that keeps out the snow. The Palace of Justice sits on the edge of this destruction. It survived because the Allies needed it to survive. They knew they would hold trials here. They aimed their bombers elsewhere. Now it is an island of light in a sea of darkness. Generators hum day and night. Floodlights illuminate the entrance. Armed guards patrol the perimeter. Inside, hundreds of lawyers, translators, clerks, and soldiers work around the clock preparing the largest criminal case in human history. The document center is in a converted factory, 3 kilometers from the courthouse. It was once a textile plant. Now it holds paper. Millions of pages of paper. Captured Nazi records fill every room, every hallway, every available space. They are stacked on shelves, on tables, on floors. They are sorted by organization, by date, by relevance. Teams of young American lawyers and German clerks work in shifts, reading, categorizing, searching for the one document that will seal a man's fate. James Donovan works in a room that was once a storage closet. It has no windows. The walls are bare concrete. A single light bulb hangs from the ceiling. A small coal stove in the corner provides barely enough heat to keep his fingers functional. He shares the space with 2 other lawyers and a rotating cast of German clerks who come and go with armloads of paper. Donovan is 26 years old. He graduated from Fordham Law School in 1943. He joined the Army the same day. He expected to fight. Instead, he has spent 2 years reading German documents. He speaks almost no German. He relies on translators. He has become an expert at spotting patterns, at recognizing names, at understanding the structure of an organization from its paper trail. His assignment is Franz Zirach, the man in the back row, the man who might get away. For weeks, Donovan has found nothing. He has read through Vienna city records. He has read through Nazi party files. He has read through SS correspondence. He has found memos signed by Zirach. He has found reports written by Zirach. He has found letters complaining about Zirach, but nothing that directly links him to the deportations. Nothing that proves he knew where the trains were going. Nothing that makes him a murderer instead of a bureaucrat. The other prosecutors pity him. They have Goering, who boasted about everything. They have Ribbentrop, whose Foreign Office kept meticulous records. They have Speer, who is practically confessing in hopes of mercy. Donovan has a man who ran a city and left no trace. Then, the crate arrives from Vienna. It sits on Donovan's desk for a full day before he opens it. He is too busy with other documents, too tired, too convinced that it will be another dead end, another box of useless paper. When he finally pries off the lid, he does it without ceremony. Just another crate, just another task. Inside he sees leather, brown leather, gold lettering, Wien, 1938 to 1945. He lifts out the top album. He opens it. The first photograph shows the Vienna Opera. Beautiful, pristine. A caption, Staatsoper, 1940. He turns the page. A reception. Men in uniforms, women in gowns, champagne, smiles. Caption, party reception, Hofburg, 1941. He turns the page. A train platform, crowds, suitcases, guards. In the background, a man in a greatcoat, Franz Zirach. Donovan recognizes him from the courtroom, the wire-rimmed spectacles, the thin hair, the neat posture. Caption, Departure to Litzmannstadt. November 1941, orderly process. Donovan stares at the photograph. He looks at the faces. Old people, women, children. They are not smiling. They are not celebrating. They are waiting for a train that will take them to a ghetto, to starvation, to death. He turns the page. A girl, 7 years old, dark hair, dark eyes. She holds a cloth doll. She looks at the camera. She looks at the man who took the photograph. She looks at Donovan. He cannot look away. He sits in the windowless room under the single light bulb and looks at this girl who died 4 years ago. He does not know her name. He will never know her name. But she is here, in his hands, staring at him from 1941. He turns the page. Another photograph. Elderly men in worn suits, yellow stars on their coats. They bow slightly to Zirach, who stands before them in his perfect uniform. Caption, Meeting with the Jewish Council. Discussing relocation logistics. Vienna. 1941. He turns the page. A warehouse. Confiscated property piled to the ceiling. Furniture. Clothing. Suitcases. Trunks. Caption, Seized assets. Awaiting redistribution. 1942. He turns the page. Empty streets. Boarded shops. A synagogue with its doors nailed shut. Caption, Leopoldstadt. After cleansing. June 1942. He turns the page. Another train platform. Another crowd. Another child. This one is a boy, maybe 10 years old. He carries a small suitcase and looks back over his shoulder at something outside the frame. His face is not afraid. It is confused. He does not understand why he is here. Caption, Transport to Riga. January 1942. Full capacity. Donovan closes the album. He opens the next one. More of the same. The opera. The receptions, the trains, the platforms, the children, the empty streets, the captions in that neat, precise handwriting, Zirach documenting his achievement, Zirach proud of his work. He opens the third album, the fourth, the fifth. By the time he reaches the seventh, his hands are shaking. Not from cold. The coal stove is working. He is sweating. He sets the albums aside. He lifts out the notebooks, 3 of them, diaries. He opens the first one, January, 1941. The handwriting is the same, small, neat, precise. He reads, January 12th, 1941, concert at the Musikverein, Beethoven's Ninth. The chorus was adequate, the orchestra excellent. Dinner afterward with city officials. Veal was overcooked. January 18th, 1941, meeting with SS Standartenführer Brunner. He requests additional resources for the relocation program. I will allocate what I can. The city must be cleansed efficiently. January 22nd, 1941. First transport of the year departed for Lodz. 1,200 souls. The process was orderly. Some confusion about luggage limits. I will issue new guidelines. Donovan reads on, page after page, concert reviews, dinner complaints, transport reports. All mixed together. All in the same tone, the same flat administrative voice. He reaches October 1942, October 15th, 1942. Vienna officially declared free of Jews. A difficult task, completed with efficiency. A credit to my administration. Evening. Mozart at the opera. Excellent performance. Supper at home with the family. Donovan reads it 3 times. He looks at the photograph of the girl with the doll. He looks at the words. A difficult task, completed with efficiency. He stands up. He walks to the door. He opens it. The hallway is full of people. Lawyers with files. Clerks with coffee. Soldiers with messages. Normal life. Normal work. No one knows what he has just found. He closes the door. He sits back down. He picks up the Leica camera from the bottom of the crate. He turns it over in his hands. He looks through the viewfinder. He imagines Zirach standing on that platform, framing the shot, pressing the shutter, the girl with the doll, the click of the camera, the train pulling away. He puts the camera down. He picks up the photograph of the girl. He looks at her face. He looks at her eyes. He speaks to her. Quietly. Alone in the windowless room. I'm going to get him, he says. I'm going to make him answer for you. The girl does not answer. She just stares, from 1941, holding her doll, waiting. Donovan works through the night. He reads every page of every diary. He studies every photograph in every album. He makes notes. He creates a timeline. He cross-references dates with transport records. He matches photographs with locations. He builds a case. By morning, he has it. Not a legal case yet. Not evidence that would stand in court. But the shape of it. The outline. The proof that Zirach was not just an administrator. He was present. He observed. He documented. He celebrated. The photographs prove he was at the platforms. The captions prove he knew where the trains were going. Litzmannstadt, Lodz, Riga. Places that were not resorts. Places that were ghettos and camps. The diaries prove he considered the deportations an achievement. A difficult task, completed with efficiency. Donovan looks at the clock. 7 in the morning. He has been working for 18 hours. He is exhausted. He is wired. He is something else too. Something he cannot name. He picks up the telephone. He dials Thomas Dodd's office. The phone rings once, twice, 3 times. Dodd answers. His voice is rough. He has been working all night too. Donovan speaks. His voice is calm, the calm of exhaustion, the calm of certainty. Sir, he says. "You need to come to the document center, right now." "What is it?" Dodd asks. Donovan looks at the photograph of the girl. He looks at her eyes. "It's Zirach," he says. He kept a diary. He kept photo albums. He documented everything, the deportations, the trains, the children. He wrote about it like it was a business report. And then he went to the opera. Silence on the line. Donovan waits. "I'll be there in an hour," Dodd says. He hangs up. Donovan puts down the phone. He looks at the girl. He looks at her doll. "1 hour," he says. "We're going to get him now." The girl stares. The girl waits. In his cell at the Palace of Justice, Franz Zirach sleeps. He dreams of Vienna, the opera, the receptions, the champagne. He does not dream of the platforms. He does not dream of the children. He never dreams of them. He will soon. Nuremberg, January 1946. The coldest winter in living memory. The coal shortage is critical. In the city, people burn furniture to stay alive. They burn books. They burn anything that will produce heat. The streets are empty, except for the desperate and the dead. Frozen bodies wait for burial that cannot happen until the thaw. In the Palace of Justice, the heat is rationed. Courtroom 600 stays just warm enough for the trial to continue. The defendants sit in the dock wearing extra layers under their suits. Some have blankets on their laps. The judges wear robes over heavy wool clothing. Everyone can see their breath when the ventilation system pauses. Franz Zirach sits in his usual place, back row, far left. His hands are folded. His posture is perfect. He has lost weight in prison. The skin around his collar is loose. But his eyes are the same, calm, observant, unafraid. He watches the proceedings with the attention of a man who believes he is a spectator, not a participant. The trial is about Goering, about the front row, about the famous names. Zirach is just a city administrator, a bureaucrat. He will be questioned eventually, but the prosecutors will find nothing. He made sure of that, or so he believes. In the document center, James Donovan prepares. He has spent 3 weeks organizing the materials from Vienna. The albums are numbered, the photographs are cataloged, the diaries are transcribed and translated. Every date is cross-referenced with transport records. Every location is identified. Every caption is verified. Donovan has created a monster, a file so thick it requires 2 hands to lift. Inside, page after page of proof. Zirach at the platforms. Zirach with the Jewish council. Zirach inspecting confiscated property. Zirach celebrating the empty streets. Zirach writing about difficult tasks completed with efficiency. But Donovan knows that documents are not enough. The court requires testimony. The defendant must be confronted. The evidence must be presented in a way that cannot be denied. He practices his approach. He imagines Zirach on the stand. He imagines the lies the man will tell. He prepares his rebuttals. He memorizes dates. He memorizes photographs. He memorizes the captions in Zirach's own handwriting. He looks at the photograph of the girl with the doll. He has looked at it every day for 3 weeks. He knows her face better than he knows his own sister's face. He knows the angle of her head, the way she holds the doll against her chest, the expression in her eyes. Not fear, not anger, just waiting, just watching. He speaks to her sometimes, quietly, when no one else is in the room. Soon, he says. We're going in soon. January 14th, 1946. The day arrives. Courtroom 600 is full. The press galleries are packed. Reporters from around the world fill the benches. The defendants shift in the dock. They sense something. A change in the rhythm of the trial. A new phase. The judges enter. Everyone rises. The defendants rise last, as always. Zirach stands with the others. He adjusts his spectacles. He waits. The chief prosecutor for the case against Zirach is called. Thomas Dodd rises. He walks to the podium. He carries a stack of documents. Behind him, an assistant wheels in a cart. On the cart, 7 leather albums, 3 notebooks, a Leica camera. Zirach sees the cart. His hands, folded on his lap, tighten. Just slightly. Just for a moment. Then they relax. His face shows nothing. Dodd begins. He speaks quietly at first. He describes the structure of the Nazi Party, the role of the Gauleiter, the administrative machinery of the Reich. The courtroom listens. The defendants listen. Zirach listens. Then Dodd changes. His voice hardens. He begins to describe Vienna, the deportations, the trains, the 65,000 souls. The prosecution will show, Dodd says, that the defendant, Franz Zirach, was not merely an administrator. He was present at the deportations. He observed them. He photographed them. He documented them. He celebrated them. Zirach does not move. His face is stone. Dodd picks up the first album. He opens it. He holds it up so the court can see. This photograph, he says, shows the Nordbahnhof in Vienna. November 1941. A transport to the Lodz ghetto is departing. The defendant is visible in the background, observing the process. He turns the page. He holds up another photograph. This photograph shows the same transport. A young girl, approximately 7 years old. She holds a doll. She is looking at the camera. She is looking at the man who took this photograph. The man who wrote the caption beneath it. Dodd reads the caption aloud. His German is accented but clear. Departure to Litzmannstadt. November 1941. Orderly process. The courtroom is silent. The reporters scribble. The defendants shift. Göring removes his headphones. He does not want to hear this. Hess stares at the ceiling. Speer looks at his hands. Zirach looks at Dodd. His face is still stone. But something has changed behind his eyes. Something small. Something he hopes no one sees. Dodd continues. He goes through album after album, photograph after photograph. He reads the captions in Zirach's own handwriting. He reads the diary entries, the concerts, the dinners, the transports, the operas, the difficult tasks completed with efficiency. He reads the entry from October 15, 1942. Vienna now officially free of Jews. A difficult task, completed with efficiency. Evening. Mozart at the opera. He looks up from the diary. He looks directly at Zirach. A difficult task, he repeats, completed with efficiency. And then Mozart. Zirach meets his gaze. For a long moment, neither looks away. Then Zirach lowers his eyes. He looks at his hands. The court adjourns for the day. The defendants file out. Zirach walks with the others. His steps are steady. His posture is correct. But the guards notice something. His hands are shaking. Just slightly. Just enough. That night, in his cell, Zirach sits on his bunk. He does not sleep. He stares at the wall. He thinks about the albums, the photographs, the diaries. He thought they were his achievement, his record. His proof of a job well done. He understands now. They are something else. He thinks about the girl with the doll. He remembers her, not her face. He does not remember faces. But he remembers the photograph, the composition, the light. He was proud of that photograph. The way the girl stood out against the chaos. The way her eyes caught the light. He thought it was art. He closes his eyes. He sees her. For the first time in 4 years, he sees her. Not as a composition, not as a photograph, as a girl, 7 years old, holding a doll, waiting for a train. He opens his eyes. The cell is dark. The walls are concrete. The door is steel. He lies down on the bunk. He stares at the ceiling. He does not sleep. In the document center, Donovan works through the night. He prepares for the next day. The cross-examination, the confrontation. He looks at the photograph of the girl. He looks at her eyes. "Tomorrow," he says. "Tomorrow he answers for you." The girl stares. The girl waits. January 15th, 1946. Zirach takes the stand. He walks from the dock to the witness box. His steps are measured. His suit is pressed. His spectacles are clean. He looks like what he has always looked like. A bank manager, a school principal, a man who has done nothing wrong. The oath is administered. He swears to tell the truth. His voice is quiet, precise, the same voice that wrote the captions, the same voice that complained about overcooked veal. Dodd approaches. He carries no notes. He has memorized everything. "Herr Zirach," he begins, "were you the Gauleiter of Vienna from 1940 to 1945? "Yes," Zirach says. "I was." "Were you responsible for the administration of the city?" "Yes." "For civilian administration, including housing?" "Including housing?" "Including food distribution?" "Including food distribution?" "Including transportation?" "Including transportation?" Dodd pauses. He lets the answers hang in the air. "Including the deportation of Jews from Vienna?" Zirach does not flinch. "The deportations were handled by the SS. I had no authority over the SS, you had no authority over the SS, but you had authority over the city, over the trains, over the housing, over the food. I administered the city. The SS handled the deportations." Dodd walks to the cart. He picks up the first album. He opens it to the photograph of the train platform. He holds it up. This photograph, taken at the Nordbahnhof, November 1941. That is a deportation, is it not? Zirach looks at the photograph. His face is calm. It appears to be a deportation, yes. And that man in the background, the one in the greatcoat, observing. Is that you? Zirach looks at the photograph for a long moment. He knows what is coming. He knows he cannot deny it. The photograph is clear. The face is clear. "Yes," he says, "that is me. You were present at the deportation. I was observing, to ensure order." Dodd turns the page. He holds up the photograph of the girl. "And this girl. Do you see her?" Zirach looks at the photograph. His eyes meet hers. For the first time since 1941, Franz Zirach looks directly at the face of the girl he sent away. "Yes," he says, "I see her. You photographed her. I photographed the transport. She was part of the transport. You photographed her specifically. She is centered in the frame. The light catches her face. You composed this photograph." Zirach says nothing. "You composed this photograph," Dodd repeats. "And then you wrote the caption. Departure to Litzmannstadt. November 1941. Orderly process. Yes. Did you know what Litzmannstadt was? It was the German name for Lodz. Did you know what was happening in Lodz?" Zirach hesitates. The hesitation is small, almost invisible, but the courtroom sees it. The reporters see it. The judges see it. "I knew it was a ghetto," he says. "I knew Jews were being relocated there." Relocated. Dodd repeats the word. He lets it hang. "Did you know what happened to people who were relocated to Lodz?" "I knew they were being settled in the east." Settled. Dodd repeats again. He walks to the cart. He picks up a folder. He opens it. He reads from a document. SS report. Lodz Ghetto, December 1941. Mortality rate 15% per month. Cause of death: starvation, disease, exposure. Children under 10, mortality rate 23%. He looks up at Zirach. Did you know that, Herr Zirach? No, that was not my responsibility. Dodd puts down the folder. He picks up the diary. He opens it to October 1942. He reads aloud. Vienna now officially free of Jews. A difficult task, completed with efficiency. A credit to my administration. Evening. Mozart at the opera. He closes the diary. He looks at Zirach. A difficult task. The task of sending 65,000 people to starvation and disease. Completed with efficiency. And then Mozart. Zirach says nothing. You wrote that, Herr Zirach, in your own hand. You considered the deportations an achievement. Something to be proud of. Something to record for posterity. I was proud of my administration. The city functioned well under difficult circumstances. The city functioned well. 65,000 people removed. Their apartments emptied, their belongings confiscated, their children photographed, and the city functioned well. I did my duty. Dodd walks back to the cart. He picks up the Leica camera. He holds it up. This is your camera, Herr Zirach? Yes. You used it to photograph the deportations. I used it to document the city, all aspects of the city, including the children, including the trains, including the empty streets after the Jews were gone. Zirach says nothing. Dodd puts down the camera. He picks up the photograph of the girl. He holds it so Zirach can see it, so the courtroom can see it, so the world can see it. This girl, Dodd says. What was her name? I don't know. You photographed her. You composed her portrait. You kept the photograph in your album. You wrote a caption about orderly process. But you don't know her name. No. Where is she now, Herr Zirach? I don't know. What do you think happened to her? Zirach is silent. The courtroom is silent. The only sound is the hum of the ventilation system. What do you think happened to her? Dodd repeats. Zirach looks at the photograph. He looks at the girl's face. He looks at her eyes. For a long moment, something moves behind his own eyes. Something that might be recognition. Something that might be fear. Something that might be the first stirring of something he has never allowed himself to feel. Then it passes. His face returns to stone. I don't know, he says. It was not my responsibility. Dodd looks at him for a long moment. Then he turns to the judges. No further questions, he says. He walks back to his seat. He does not look at Zirach. He looks at the photograph in his hand. The girl with the doll. The girl who stares from 1941. He sits down. He places the photograph on the table in front of him. He looks at her eyes. It's done, he thinks. He can't hide anymore. In the witness box, Zirach sits alone. The judges are consulting. The courtroom buzzes with quiet conversation. The reporters write furiously. The defendants in the dock look away from him. Even Goring, who has never looked at the back row, glances at Zirach and then looks away quickly, as if he has seen something embarrassing, something shameful. Zirach stares at the photograph in Dodd's hand, the girl with the doll. He cannot see her face from here, but he knows her face. He knows every photograph in every album. He studied them for years. He was proud of them. He is not proud now. He looks down at his hands. They are shaking again. He cannot stop them. He folds them together, tight, to hide the shaking. But he can feel it. The tremor running through his fingers, through his wrists, through his arms. He thinks about the girl. He tries not to. but he cannot stop. He sees her on the platform. He sees her holding the doll. He sees her looking at him. He hears the click of the camera. He hears the train pulling away. He closes his eyes. When he opens them, the judges are returning. The trial continues. His hands are still shaking. In the document center that night, Donovan sits alone in his windowless room. The photograph of the girl is on the table in front of him. He looks at her face. He looks at her eyes. "We did it," he says. "We got him." The girl does not answer. She just stares, from 1941, holding her doll, waiting. But something has changed. Donovan feels it. The waiting is over. The girl has spoken. Not in words, in photographs, in captions, in the neat handwriting of the man who sent her away. Donovan picks up the photograph. He holds it carefully. He looks at her face one last time. "Goodbye," he says. He places the photograph back in the album. He closes the cover. He stacks the album with the others. 7 albums, 3 notebooks, a Leica camera, the proof of what one man did. He turns off the light. He walks out of the room. He closes the door behind him. In his cell, Franz Zirach lies on his bunk. He stares at the ceiling. He does not sleep. He sees the girl every time he closes his eyes. He sees her on the platform. He sees her holding the doll. He sees her looking at him. He tries to think about something else. The opera, the receptions, the champagne. But the girl is there, waiting, watching. He opens his eyes. The ceiling is concrete. The walls are concrete. The door is steel. He closes his eyes. The girl is there. He does not sleep. Not that night. Not for many nights. The girl with the doll has found him at last. Nuremberg, March 1946. The trial has entered its 5th month. The winter loosens its grip. Snow melts into brown slush on the streets. The ruins of the old city begin to emerge from their white covering, revealed again in all their destruction. The people of Nuremberg dig through the debris, searching for anything that can be salvaged. Bricks, wood, metal, the pieces of their former lives. In courtroom 600, the rhythm of the trial has become routine. Witnesses come and go. Documents are entered into evidence. The defendants sit in the dock day after day, listening through headphones, taking notes, occasionally conferring with their lawyers. The front row still draws the attention. Goering, Hess, Ribbentrop, the famous names. But something has shifted. The back row is no longer invisible. Since Zirach's testimony, the journalists have started watching him. They note his stillness, his silence, his hands which sometimes shake when he thinks no one is looking. They write about the photographs, the girl with the doll, the diary entry about Mozart. The story has spread beyond the courtroom. Newspapers in America, in Britain, in France carry the details. The Gauleiter who photographed his victims, the bureaucrat who went to the opera after the last transport left. Zirach feels the change. He feels the eyes on him. He feels the weight of what he did, pressing down on him day after day. He sits in the dock and tries to maintain his posture, his schoolmaster's posture, his banker's posture. But it costs him more now. Every hour is a struggle. The trial continues. More witnesses, more documents, more evidence of the thousands of crimes committed in the name of the Reich. Zirach listens. He takes notes. His handwriting is still neat. But the words he writes are different now. He no longer records concert reviews. He writes only what he must. Dates, names, references to documents. He is building something. A defense, a story he can tell, a way to explain. The photographs are not what they seem, he tells his lawyer in the evenings. I was documenting the city, all aspects of the city. The transports were part of the city. I photographed them the same way I photographed the opera. His lawyer, a German appointed by the court, listens and nods. He does not believe Zirach, but he does not need to believe. He needs to defend. The diaries, Zirach continues. They are personal, private thoughts, not official records. A man's private thoughts cannot be used against him. The lawyer nods again. He knows this argument will fail. The tribunal has already ruled that personal documents are admissible. The Nazis kept few official records of their worst crimes. The personal documents are often the only proof. But he says nothing. He lets Zirach talk. He lets him build his story. It is what lawyers do. March 20th, 1946. The prosecution calls its final witness in the case against Zirach. The witness is not a person. It is a thing. 2 American soldiers wheel a cart into the courtroom. On the cart, stacked neatly, are 7 leather albums, 3 notebooks, a Leica camera, the same cart that appeared on the first day of Zirach's testimony. But now it is different. Now everything has been translated, catalogued, entered into evidence. Now it is official. The prosecutors ask that the materials be formally admitted. The judges confer. The defense objects. The objection is overruled. Exhibit 347A through 347G. The 7 albums. Exhibit 348A through 348C. The 3 notebooks. Exhibit 349. The Leica camera. The clerk records each number in the official record. The courtroom watches. The defendants watch. Zirach watches. He watches his life being entered into evidence. 7 years of work, 7 years of achievement, 7 years of photographs and captions and careful records. All of it, now property of the International Military Tribunal. All of it now proof of his crimes. He thinks about the girl with the doll. He has not looked at that photograph since his testimony. He cannot look at it. He knows it is there, in Album 2, page 47. He knows the page number because he numbered every page himself. He knows the caption because he wrote it in his own hand. He knows the girl's face because he composed it, framed it, lit it, pressed the shutter at exactly the right moment. He does not look at the albums. He looks at his hands. The judges ask if the defense wishes to cross-examine the evidence. Zirach's lawyer stands. He approaches the cart. He opens Album 1. He flips through the pages. The opera, the receptions, the parks. He closes it. He opens Album 2. He flips through quickly. The train platforms, the crowds, the children. He closes it. No questions, he says. He returns to his seat. The courtroom murmurs. The journalists write. The defendants shift in the dock. Zirach understands. His lawyer has nothing to ask. The evidence speaks for itself. There is no way to explain it away. No way to make it mean something else. He sits in the dock and feels the weight of paper. 7 albums, 3 notebooks, a camera, all of it pressing down on him. All of it saying the same thing. Guilty, guilty, guilty. The trial moves on. Other defendants, other evidence, other witnesses. But Zirach's evidence remains. It sits in the courtroom, on the cart, day after day. The prosecutors refer to it occasionally. The journalists photograph it. The defendants avoid looking at it. Zirach looks at it every day. He cannot help himself. His eyes drift to the cart, to the albums, to the place where the girl with the doll waits for him. He tries to look away. He cannot. He begins to dream about her. Not every night, but often. In the dreams, she is on the platform. She holds her doll. She looks at him. But in the dreams, she speaks. "Why did you photograph me?" He tries to answer. He cannot. "Why did you write orderly process?" He opens his mouth. Nothing comes. "Where is my mother?" He wakes up, sweating, shaking, staring at the ceiling of his cell. He does not tell his lawyer about the dreams. He does not tell anyone. He lies in the dark and waits for morning. April, 1946. The trial approaches its end. The prosecutors make their closing statements. One by one, the defendants hear the cases against them, summed up, the evidence laid out, the charges repeated, the punishments requested. When Zirach's turn comes, the prosecutor speaks for 3 hours. He goes through the evidence methodically, the photographs, the diaries, the captions, the girl with the doll, the Mozart entry, the 65,000 souls. He reads from the diary, Vienna now officially free of Jews. A difficult task, completed with efficiency. He holds up the photograph. This girl, 7 years old. She was on Transport 42 from Vienna to Lodz. She arrived in Lodz on November 12, 1941. She was registered in the ghetto records. Her name was Sarah Goldberg. She was 8 years old in December 1941, when the mortality rate for children reached 23%. She was 9 years old in January 1942. She was 10 years old in January 1943. She was 11 years old in 1944, when the Lodz ghetto was liquidated and the remaining inhabitants were sent to Auschwitz. She was 12 years old in 1945, when the war ended and the survivors were counted. The prosecutor pauses. He looks at the photograph. He looks at the courtroom. Sarah Goldberg was not among the survivors. She was not counted in 1945. She died sometime between November 1941 and January 1945. We do not know exactly when. We do not know exactly where. We do not know exactly how. But we know who put her on that train. We know who photographed her as she waited. We know who wrote orderly process in his diary and went to the opera that night. He turns to face Zirach. The defendant Franz Zirach did not kill Sarah Goldberg with his own hands. He did not operate the gas chambers. He did not starve her in the ghetto. But he made it possible. He cleared the city. He provided the trains. He documented the process. He celebrated the result. And then he went to Mozart. That is not administration. That is not bureaucracy. That is participation. That is complicity. That is guilt. Zirach sits in the dock. His hands are folded. His face is stone. But inside something is cracking. Sarah Goldberg. The girl has a name. She has always had a name. He just never knew it. Now he does. Sarah Goldberg. He repeats it in his mind. Sarah Goldberg. The girl with the doll. Sarah Goldberg. He looks at the photograph on the prosecutor's table. He cannot see her face from here. But he knows it. He has studied it for years. He composed it, framed it, lit it, pressed the shutter at exactly the right moment. Sarah Goldberg. He closes his eyes. When he opens them, the prosecutor is still speaking. The words wash over him. He does not hear them. He hears only the name. Sarah Goldberg. Sarah Goldberg. Sarah Goldberg. That night, in his cell, he writes in his own diary for the first time since his arrest. Not a long entry, just a few words. April 16th, 1946. The girl's name was Sarah Goldberg. He stares at the words. He does not know why he wrote them. He does not know what they mean. He only knows that he had to write them, that the name was in his head and would not leave until he put it on paper. He closes the diary. He lies on his bunk. He stares at the ceiling. Sarah Goldberg. He sleeps. He dreams. She is on the platform. She holds her doll. She looks at him. "My name is Sarah," she says. "You photographed me." "Yes," he says. In the dream, he can speak. "Why?" "I don't know. You kept the photograph." "Yes, why? I was proud of it. The composition, the light." She looks at him. Her eyes are dark. Her face is serious. "I was a child," she says. "I was holding my doll. I was scared. And you photographed me because you liked the light." He has no answer. "You wrote orderly process," she says. "Was it orderly? Was it process?" He says nothing. "You went to Mozart," she says. "After I was gone. You listened to Mozart?" "Yes." "Did you think about me?" "No." "Did you think about any of us?" "No." She looks at him for a long moment. Then she turns away. She walks toward the train. She does not look back. "Wait," he says. "Please." She keeps walking. She reaches the train. She climbs the steps. The door closes behind her. "Sarah," he calls. Sarah Goldberg. The train pulls away. He stands on the platform alone. The camera hangs around his neck. He lifts it. He looks through the viewfinder. The train is gone. There is nothing to photograph. He wakes up. The cell is dark. His face is wet. He touches his cheek. Tears. He has not cried since he was a child. He does not know why he is crying now. He lies in the dark and waits for morning. The trial continues. The closing statements end. The judges retire to consider their verdicts. The defendants wait in their cells. Days pass. Weeks. Zirach waits. He thinks about Sarah Goldberg. He thinks about the other faces in his photographs. The old woman with the wooden box. The boy looking back over his shoulder. The men from the Jewish council, bowing slightly. He never knew their names. He never wanted to know. Now he wants to know. He wants to know all of them. He wants to know who they were, what they loved, what they feared, what they hoped for as they stood on that platform waiting for the train. But he cannot know. They are gone. Their names are lost. Only Sarah Goldberg remains. Only Sarah Goldberg has a name now. Only Sarah Goldberg comes to him in dreams. He writes in his diary every night, not long entries, just names. The names he remembers from the trial, the names of witnesses, the names of victims, the names of places. He fills page after page with names, as if writing them down will bring them back, as if writing them down will make them real. September 30th, 1946. The judges return. Courtroom 600 is packed. The defendants file in. They take their places in the dock. Zirach sits in the back row. His hands are folded. His posture is perfect. But his face is different now. Thinner. Older. The eyes behind the spectacles are not calm anymore. They are waiting. They are afraid. The judgments are read alphabetically. Bormann, in absentia. Dönitz. Frank. Frick. One by one, the defendants hear their fates. Guilty. Not guilty. Life. Death. When the name Zirach is called, the courtroom goes silent. Franz Zirach, the judge reads, "On the charges of crimes against humanity, the tribunal finds you guilty." Zirach does not move. His hands stay folded. His face stays still. The evidence presented, the judge continues, including the personal photographs and diaries of the defendant, establishes beyond reasonable doubt that he participated in the deportation of Jewish citizens from Vienna. The tribunal finds that the defendant knew the purpose of these deportations and facilitated them through his administrative authority. His personal documentation of these events and his expressions of satisfaction at their completion demonstrate his active support for the criminal enterprise. The judge pauses. He looks at Zirach. The defendant is sentenced to 20 years imprisonment. 20 years. Not death. The courtroom reacts. Some nod. Some shake their heads. The journalists write. Zirach hears the words. 20 years. He will not hang. He will not die. He will serve 20 years, and then he will be free. He should feel relief. He does not. He feels nothing. He looks at the cart where the albums used to sit. They are gone now, entered into evidence, filed away. The girl with the doll is in a file somewhere. Sarah Goldberg is in a file. He is led from the courtroom. He walks past the press benches, past the spectators, past the place where the cart stood. He does not look back. In his cell, he sits on his bunk. He thinks about 20 years. He will be 70 years old when he gets out. 70 years old. An old man. Perhaps he will go back to Vienna. Perhaps he will see the opera again. Perhaps he will walk through the streets he emptied. He lies down. He closes his eyes. He waits for sleep. He knows she will come. Sarah Goldberg. She always comes. She comes that night. She stands on the platform. She holds her doll. She looks at him. 20 years, she says. You got 20 years. Yes. I got nothing, she says. I got a train. I got a ghetto. I got a grave without a name. He says nothing. You photographed me, she says. You kept my picture. You wrote about orderly process. You went to Mozart, yes. Now you have 20 years. And then you will be free. Yes. She looks at him. Her eyes are dark. Her face is serious. Will you remember me? She asks. When you are free. Will you remember my name? Yes, he says. I will remember. She turns away. She walks toward the train. She climbs the steps. She does not look back. Sarah, he calls. Sarah Goldberg. The train pulls away. He stands on the platform alone. The camera hangs around his neck. He lifts it. He looks through the viewfinder. The train is gone. He wakes up. The cell is dark. His face is wet. He lies in the dark and waits for morning. 20 years of mornings. 20 years of nights. 20 years of Sarah Goldberg waiting on the platform. He closes his eyes. She is there. She is always there now. The girl with the doll. Sarah Goldberg. Waiting. Nuremberg. October 1st, 1946. The day after the sentences. The Palace of Justice is quiet. The trial is over. The journalists have filed their final stories and departed. The photographers have packed their equipment. The spectators have gone home. Only the prisoners remain, waiting to be transferred to the prisons where they will serve their sentences. Franz Zirach sits in his cell. He has been sitting since dawn. His hands are folded in his lap. His posture is correct. But his eyes are different now. They stare at nothing. They have been staring at nothing for hours. 20 years. The words repeat in his mind. 20 years. He will be 70 years old when he walks out of prison. 70 years old. An old man. Perhaps he will die before then. Perhaps that would be better. He thinks about Sarah Goldberg. He thinks about her every day now. She comes to him every night. The platform, the doll, the train, the same dream over and over. He wakes up with tears on his face. He never cried before. Now he cries every night. He does not understand why. He did not kill her. He did not operate the gas chambers. He did not starve her in the ghetto. He was just an administrator, a bureaucrat, a man doing his job. But she is there, every night, waiting. October 1946. Zirach is transferred to Spandau prison in Berlin. Spandau is a massive fortress. Red brick, high walls, guard towers. It was built in the 19th century to hold common criminals. Now it holds the 7 Nazis who escaped the gallows. The Allies run it together. 4 powers, 4 sets of guards, 4 languages. The prisoners rotate through the routines of each sector. Zirach arrives on a gray morning. The gates close behind him with a sound he will hear in his dreams for the rest of his life, the clang of iron, the finality of it. He is led to his cell. It is small. A bed, a table, a chair, a window high on the wall, too high to see out of. He can see only sky, gray sky, blue sky, black sky. The seasons change beyond his reach. He sits on the bed. He looks at his hands. Empty hands, no pen, no paper, no camera, no albums, nothing to document, nothing to organize, nothing to control. For 20 years he will have nothing to do but sit and think. The first year is the hardest. Zirach tries to maintain his routines. He wakes at the same time every day. He makes his bed with military precision. He cleans his cell obsessively. He exercises in the small yard during the allotted hour. He eats the prison food without complaint. He does everything correctly. He is still the schoolmaster, still the administrator, still the man who follows procedures. But there is nothing to administer, nothing to organize, nothing to control except his own small space. The cell is clean. The bed is made. There is nothing else. He begins to think about Vienna, not the way he thought about it before, not with pride, not with satisfaction. He thinks about the details he never noticed, the faces he never saw, the names he never learned. He thinks about the old woman with the wooden box. She was on the platform that day in November 1941, the same day as Sarah Goldberg. She moved slowly, painfully, helped by a younger woman. She carried a wooden box. Not a suitcase, a box. Perhaps it held something precious. Photographs, letters, a family heirloom, something she could not leave behind. He photographed her. He remembers now. He composed the shot, the old woman, the younger woman, the box, the train in the background. He was pleased with the composition, the way the light fell on the box, the way the old woman's face was half in shadow. He never knew her name. He never wondered. Now he wonders. Who was she? What was in the box? Where did she go? Did she die on the train? In the ghetto? In the camp? Did she hold the box until the end? Did someone find it after she was gone? He has no answers. He will never have answers. The second year, the third, the fourth, Zirach ages. His hair turns white. His skin grows pale from lack of sun. His hands develop a tremor that never stops. The schoolmaster's posture begins to fail. His shoulders round. His back bends. He walks with small, shuffling steps. The other prisoners come and go. Some are released early. Some die in the prison hospital. Speer writes his memoirs. Hess stares at the wall and pretends amnesia. Zirach does nothing. He sits in his cell and thinks. He thinks about the photographs, all of them. He goes through them in his mind one by one, the opera, the receptions, the parks, the trains, the platforms, the children. He tries to remember every face, every caption, every detail. He fails. There are too many. Thousands of photographs. Thousands of faces. He cannot remember them all. But he remembers the ones he composed carefully. The ones he was proud of. Sarah Goldberg. The old woman with the box. The boy looking back. The men from the Jewish council, bowing slightly. He remembers them. He will always remember them. The fifth year, the sixth. Zirach stops making his bed with military precision. He stops exercising. He stops caring about the routines. He sits on his bed and stares at the wall. The guards find him there hour after hour. They report that he speaks to himself, quietly, endlessly. They cannot understand what he says. He is talking to the photographs. He is telling them he is sorry. He does not know if he means it. He does not know what sorry means anymore. He only knows that he must say it, over and over, to Sarah, to the old woman, to the boy, to all of them. "I'm sorry," he whispers. "I'm sorry, I'm sorry." The words have no effect. The faces do not answer. They just stare from 1941. Waiting. The 7th year. The 8th. Zirach receives a letter. The first letter he has received since his imprisonment. It is from his daughter. She is grown now. Married. She lives in Germany. She asks how he is. She says she hopes he is well. She says she remembers Vienna, the opera, the parties, the happy times. He reads the letter 3 times. Then he folds it carefully and places it on the table. He does not write back. He does not know what to say. How can he tell her about the happy times? How can he explain that the happy times were built on the unhappy times? That the opera came after the trains? That the parties celebrated the empty streets? He sits on his bed and stares at the wall. He thinks about his daughter. She was a child during the war. She played in the garden while he worked. She knew nothing about the platforms, nothing about the transports, nothing about Sarah Goldberg. He is glad she knew nothing. He hopes she never knows. The 9th year, the 10th. Zirach stops speaking. Not completely. He answers when the guards ask questions. He requests food when he is hungry. But the endless whispering stops. The apologies stop. He sits in silence and stares at the wall. The guards think he has gone mad. Perhaps he has. He does not know anymore. He knows only that the faces are still there. Sarah, the old woman, the boy, the men from the Jewish council. They wait in his mind. They do not speak. They do not move. They just wait. He waits with them. The 11th year, the 12th. Zirach is 67 years old. He has served 12 years. 8 years remain. He will be 75 when he gets out. 75. If he lives that long. He does not want to live that long. He wants to die. He has wanted to die for years. But he cannot kill himself. He is too afraid, too weak, too something. He does not know what. He only knows that he wakes up every morning and wishes he had not. He thinks about the camera, the Leica, his tool, his eye. He wonders where it is now. In a museum? In an evidence locker? In someone's private collection? He hopes it has been destroyed. He hopes no one else will look through that viewfinder and see what he saw. But he knows it has not been destroyed. Nothing is destroyed. Everything is kept. Everything is filed. Everything is evidence. The 13th year, the 14th, Zirach has a visitor, not family, not a lawyer, a historian. A young man from Austria who is writing a book about Vienna during the war. He has come to ask questions. He has come to hear Zirach's story. Zirach refuses to see him. The guards inform the historian. The historian leaves. But he leaves something behind. A photograph, a copy of a photograph from the archives. He asks the guards to give it to Zirach. The guards bring it to his cell. They hand it to him. A small photograph, black and white. Sarah Goldberg, 7 years old. Dark hair, dark eyes. A cloth doll. The platform at the Nordbahnhof. November 1941. Zirach looks at the photograph. He has not seen it in 14 years, but he has seen it every night in his dreams. Sarah waiting on the platform. He holds it in his trembling hands. He looks at her face. He looks at her eyes. "Sarah," he whispers, "I remember you." She does not answer. She never answers. She just stares from 1941, holding her doll, waiting. He places the photograph on the table next to his bed. He looks at it every day, every hour, every minute. He cannot stop looking at it. She is there, always there. The 15th year, the 16th. Zirach's health fails. His heart is weak. His lungs are weak. He spends weeks in the prison hospital. The doctors say he may not survive to his release. They say he may die in Spandau. He hopes they are right. He thinks about dying. He wonders what will happen when he dies. Will he see Sarah? Will she be waiting for him? Will she speak to him at last? Will she forgive him? He does not think she will forgive him. He does not think he deserves forgiveness. He only wants to see her again, to tell her he is sorry, to tell her he remembers her name. Sarah Goldberg, he whispers in the hospital bed. Sarah Goldberg, I remember. The 17th year, the 18th, Zirach survives. His heart keeps beating. His lungs keep breathing. He is released from the hospital and returned to his cell. He sits on his bed and looks at the photograph. Sarah stares back. 18 years. 2 years remain. He thinks about freedom, about walking out of Spandau, about seeing the world again. The thought terrifies him. The world has changed. He has not changed with it. He is still 1941, still standing on the platform, still holding the camera, still pressing the shutter. He does not know how to live in any other year. The 19th year. Zirach receives another visitor. This time he agrees to see him. An American journalist. A young man who wants to hear his story. They meet in a small room. A guard sits in the corner. The journalist asks questions. Zirach answers. His voice is quiet. His words are careful. He tells the journalist about Vienna, about the administration, about the difficulties of wartime. He does not mention Sarah Goldberg. He does not mention the photographs. He does not mention the dreams. The journalist asks about the trial, about the evidence, about the girl with the doll. Zirach is silent for a long moment. Then he speaks. "I did not kill anyone," he says. "I was an administrator. I did my job." The journalist writes it down. He thanks Zirach. He leaves. That night, Sarah comes to him in his dream. She stands on the platform. She holds her doll. She looks at him. "You did not kill anyone," she says. "You just photographed me. You just wrote orderly process. You just went to Mozart. Yes. And now you're going free. Yes." She looks at him. Her eyes are dark. Her face is serious. "I am not free," she says. "I will never be free. I am here, on this platform, waiting, forever." He wakes up. The cell is dark. His face is wet. He looks at the photograph on the table. Sarah stares at him. "I know," he whispers. "I know." The 20th year, October 1966. Franz Zirach is 70 years old. He has served 20 years in Spandau prison. He has outlived most of the other defendants. He has outlived his wife. He has outlived his health. He has outlived everything except the memories. The day of his release arrives. The guards bring him his civilian clothes, a suit, dark wool, the same style he always wore. They bring him a small bag with his personal effects. There is almost nothing inside: a watch, a wallet, a photograph, Sarah Goldberg, 7 years old, dark hair, dark eyes, a cloth doll, the platform at the Nordbahnhof. November 1941. He puts the photograph in his pocket. He puts on the suit. It hangs loose on his thin frame. He walks to the gate. The guards open it. He steps through. Berlin, October 1966. The city has rebuilt itself. New buildings rise where ruins once stood. Cars fill the streets. People hurry past, carrying briefcases, talking on telephones, living their lives. Zirach stands on the sidewalk. He does not know where to go. He has no family left, no friends, no home. He has 20 years of emptiness and a photograph of a dead girl. He starts walking. He does not know where he's going. He just walks through the streets of Berlin, past the rebuilt buildings, past the busy people, past the life that went on without him. He walks for hours. Eventually he finds a park. He sits on a bench. He takes out the photograph. He looks at Sarah's face. "I'm free," he says. 20 years. I served my time. She does not answer. She just stares. From 1941. He puts the photograph back in his pocket. He sits on the bench and watches the people pass. Young people, old people, children. They laugh, they talk, they live. He does not know how to live. He has forgotten. He has spent 20 years sitting in a cell, staring at a wall, talking to ghosts. He does not know how to be among the living. He sits on the bench until dark. Then he stands up. He walks to a hotel. He rents a room. He lies on the bed. He closes his eyes. Sarah is there, on the platform, holding her doll. "You're free now," she says. "What will you do?" "I don't know," he says. "Will you go to Vienna?" "I don't know." "Will you go to the opera?" "I don't know." She looks at him. Her eyes are dark. Her face is serious. "Will you remember me?" "Yes," he says. "I will always remember you." She turns away. She walks toward the train. She climbs the steps. She does not look back. "Sarah," he calls. "Sarah Goldberg." The train pulls away. He stands on the platform alone. The camera hangs around his neck. He lifts it. He looks through the viewfinder. The train is gone. There is nothing to photograph. He wakes up. The hotel room is dark. The city hums outside the window. He lies in the dark and waits for morning. He does not know what he will do tomorrow. He does not know where he will go. He does not know how to live. But he knows one thing. He knows her name, Sarah Goldberg. He will carry it with him until he dies. It is the only thing he has left. Berlin, October 1966. 1 week after release. Franz Zirach has not left his hotel room. He lies on the bed. He stares at the ceiling. He eats nothing. He speaks to no one. The maid knocks each morning. He does not answer. She leaves fresh towels outside the door. He does not use them. The photograph of Sarah Goldberg lies on the bedside table. He looks at it constantly. When he sleeps, she visits him. When he wakes, she stares at him from the paper. There is no escape from her. There never will be. On the 8th day, he gets up. He showers. He dresses in the suit that hangs on his thin frame. He puts the photograph in his pocket. He walks out of the hotel. He goes to the train station. He buys a ticket. Vienna. The train ride takes hours. He sits by the window and watches the countryside pass. Green fields, small towns, forests. Everything has changed. Everything is the same. He does not know which. He arrives in Vienna in the evening. The station is different. Modern. Clean. Bright lights. He walks out into the city. Vienna, 1966. 25 years since he stood on the platform at the Nordbahnhof. 25 years since he photographed Sarah Goldberg. The city has rebuilt itself. The opera house has been restored. The parks are green. The streets are full of people. He walks through the streets he once ruled. He passes the Hofburg, where he sat beneath the Habsburg emperors and signed the orders. It is still there, still grand, still beautiful. Tourists take photographs outside. They do not know what happened inside. He walks to the Nordbahnhof. The station is still there, still functioning. Trains arrive and depart. People hurry through the halls with suitcases and tickets. He stands on the platform where Sarah Goldberg waited. The same platform, the same spot. He takes out the photograph. He holds it up. He looks at the platform in the photograph. He looks at the platform in front of him. They are the same. The rails are the same. The roof is the same. The light is different. The people are different. But the place is the same. Sarah stood here. She held her doll. She waited for the train. He stood over there, near the pillar, and raised his camera. He composed the shot. He pressed the shutter. The click was quiet. No one noticed. He looks at the spot where he stood. It is empty now. A woman with a child passes through it. She does not know. She will never know. He puts the photograph back in his pocket. He walks away from the platform. He does not look back. He walks to the Leopoldstadt district, the former Jewish quarter. The empty streets he photographed, the boarded shops, the synagogues with their doors nailed shut. Now it is different. Shops are open. People walk the streets. Children play. A synagogue stands restored, its doors open. He looks inside. People are praying. He does not enter. He walks for hours. Through the city he emptied. Through the streets that once held 65,000 souls. He sees none of them. He sees only the living, the ones who came after, the ones who do not know. He finds a small hotel near the opera. He rents a room. He lies on the bed. He takes out the photograph. He looks at Sarah's face. "I came back," he says. "I came back to Vienna." She does not answer. She never answers. He sleeps. She comes to him on the platform. She holds her doll. She looks at him. "You came back?" she says. "Yes." "Why?" "I don't know." She looks at him. Her eyes are dark. Her face is serious. "Did you find what you were looking for?" "No." "What were you looking for?" "I don't know." She turns away. She walks toward the train. She climbs the steps. She does not look back. "Sarah," he calls. "Please." She stops. She turns. She looks at him. "Please what?" "Please tell me what to do." She looks at him for a long moment. Then she speaks. "Remember," she says. "That's all. Just remember." She turns away. She enters the train. The door closes. The train pulls away. He stands on the platform, alone. He wakes up. The hotel room is dark. The photograph is on the bedside table. Sarah stares at him. "Remember," she said. "That's all. Just remember." He lies in the dark and remembers. The next morning he goes to the opera. The Staatsoper is restored, beautiful, grand. He buys a ticket. He sits in the cheap seats, not in the box where he once sat as Gauleiter. The lights dim. The music begins. Mozart. He closes his eyes. The music washes over him. It is beautiful. It is the same music he heard after the last transport left. The same music he heard after Vienna was declared free of Jews. He opens his eyes. He looks at the stage, the singers, the orchestra, the audience, lost in the beauty of the art. He thinks about Sarah Goldberg. He thinks about the old woman with the wooden box. He thinks about the boy looking back. He thinks about all of them, on the platform, waiting for the train, while he stood with his camera and composed the light. The music plays. He does not hear it. He hears only silence. The silence of 65,000 souls. He leaves before the final act. He walks through the streets of Vienna in the dark. He does not know where he is going. He walks until he cannot walk anymore. He sits on a bench in a park. He takes out the photograph. He looks at Sarah's face. "I remember," he says. "I remember all of you." The photograph does not answer. It never will. He sits on the bench until dawn. The next day he goes to the archive, the Austrian State Archives, a modern building, rows of files, millions of documents. He asks to see the records from the war, the deportation records, the transport lists. The archivist is young. She does not recognize him. She brings the files. He sits at a table and opens them. Transport 42, Vienna to Lodz, November 1941. He reads the names. Page after page. Names, ages, occupations. The last record of people who were about to disappear. He finds her on the third page. Goldberg, Sarah, age 7. Occupation, none. Destination, Lodz. He stares at the name. Goldberg, Sarah, age 7. Occupation, none. Destination, Lodz, 7 years old. Occupation, none. She was a child. Her occupation was being a child, playing with dolls, learning to read, growing up. He turns the page. The next name. Goldberg, Miriam. Age 32. Occupation, seamstress. Destination, Lodz. Her mother, Miriam Goldberg, 32 years old, a seamstress. She made clothes for other people. Perhaps she made the doll. Perhaps she made it with her own hands. In the evenings, after work, for her daughter. He turns the page. Goldberg, Abraham. Age 34. Occupation, tailor. Destination, Lodz. Her father, Abraham Goldberg, 34 years old. A tailor. He made suits for men like Zirach. Men who wore dark wool and white shirts and photographed children on platforms. He reads the rest of the list. Hundreds of names, thousands, families, old people, young people, children. All sent east, all disappeared. He sits at the table for hours. He reads every name. He tries to imagine each face. He cannot. There are too many. 65,000. More than he can hold in his mind. But he holds one. Sarah Goldberg. Age 7. Occupation, none. Destination, Lodz. He closes the file. He returns it to the archivist. He walks out of the building. He stands on the street. The sun is setting. The city is beautiful. The opera is playing somewhere. People are laughing in cafes. Life goes on. He puts his hand in his pocket. He touches the photograph. Sarah is there, waiting. He walks to the Danube. He stands on the bank and watches the water flow. It flows the same way it flowed in 1941. The same river. The same current. The same endless movement toward the sea. He takes out the photograph. He looks at it one last time. Sarah Goldberg, 7 years old. Dark hair, dark eyes. A cloth doll. The platform at the Nordbahnhof. November 1941. He holds it for a long moment. Then he tears it in half. Then in half again. Then again. Small pieces. Tiny pieces. He throws them into the Danube. The pieces float for a moment. Then they sink. Then they are gone. He stands on the bank and watches the water. He feels nothing. He has felt nothing for years. He does not know if he will ever feel anything again. He turns away. He walks back into the city. He does not know where he is going. He does not know what he will do. He only knows that he is alone, truly alone. For the first time in 25 years, Sarah Goldberg is not with him. He left her in the river. He finds a hotel. He rents a room. He lies on the bed. He closes his eyes. Sarah is not there. The platform is empty. The train is gone. He stands alone in the darkness. He waits. She does not come. He sleeps. He does not dream. The next morning he wakes. The room is gray with dawn. He lies still and listens to his own breathing. In, out, in, out. The sound of a man still alive. He gets up. He dresses. He walks out of the hotel. He does not know where he is going. He walks through the streets of Vienna, past the opera, past the Hofburg, past the cafes where people laugh and talk. He is invisible. No one looks at him. No one knows who he is. He is just an old man in a worn suit walking. He walks to the Nordbahnhof. He stands on the platform. Trains arrive. Trains depart. People hurry past. He stands still. He looks at the spot where Sarah Goldberg stood. He looks at the spot where he stood with his camera. He looks at the rails that led east. He stands there for an hour. 2 hours. People step around him. They do not ask questions. They do not care. Finally, he turns away. He walks out of the station. He walks through the city. He walks until he cannot walk anymore. He sits on a bench in a park. An old woman sits on the bench next to him. She feeds bread to pigeons. She does not look at him. After a while, she speaks. "Beautiful day," she says. "Yes," he says. "Beautiful." She throws more bread. The pigeons fight over it. "Are you from Vienna?" she asks. He hesitates. Then he speaks. "I lived here once," he says. "A long time ago." She nods. She does not ask more questions. She throws bread. The pigeons eat. He sits on the bench and watches the pigeons. The old woman feeds them. The sun is warm on his face. For a moment he forgets. For a moment he is just an old man on a bench in a park. Then he remembers. He always remembers. He stands up. He thanks the old woman. He walks away. He does not know where he is going. He walks through the streets. He passes a shop. In the window there is a camera, a Leica, small, precise, German-made, the same model he used. He stops. He looks at the camera. He remembers holding it, framing shots, pressing the shutter, the click, the satisfaction of a well-composed photograph. He remembers Sarah Goldberg, the way the light caught her face, the way she stood out against the chaos, the way her eyes met the lens. He walks away from the shop. He does not look back. That night, he writes in a notebook. The first writing he has done since prison. He writes the names. All the names he can remember from the transport lists. Goldberg Sarah, Goldberg Miriam, Goldberg Abraham, and then the others. Hundreds of them. He writes until his hand cramps. He writes until the notebook is full. He closes the notebook. He places it on the table. He lies on the bed. He closes his eyes. Sarah is there, on the platform, holding her doll. But she is different now, older, not a child, a young woman, 25 years older, the age she would be if she had lived. "You remembered," she says. "Yes." "You wrote the names?" "Yes." She looks at him. Her eyes are still dark, her face is still serious, but something has changed, something softer. "Thank you," she says. He has no words. He has never had words for her. She turns away. She walks toward the train. But this time she does not board. She stops at the door. She turns back. "I have to go now," she says. The train is waiting. He nods. "Goodbye, Franz," she says. "Goodbye, Sarah." She enters the train. The door closes. The train pulls away. He stands on the platform alone. But this time, when the train disappears, the platform does not stay empty. Slowly, others appear. The old woman with the wooden box, the boy looking back, the men from the Jewish council, no longer bowing. Thousands of them. All the faces from the photographs, all the names from the lists. They fill the platform. They do not speak. They just stand there, looking at him. He looks back. He does not look away. "I remember you," he says. "All of you. I remember." They do not answer. They do not need to. They just stand there, in the light of 1941, waiting for a train that will never come. He wakes up. The room is dark. The notebook is on the table. The names are written. He lies in the dark and waits for morning. He does not know what he will do tomorrow. He does not know where he will go. He does not know how much time he has left. But he knows this: he will remember. Every day. Every night. Until he cannot remember anymore. It is the only thing he can do, the only thing that matters, the only thing. Outside the window, Vienna wakes. The sun rises over the city. People go to work. Children go to school. Trains arrive and depart at the Nordbahnhof. Life goes on. In a small hotel room, an old man sits on the edge of his bed. He holds a notebook full of names. He looks out the window at the city he once ruled, the city he emptied, the city that forgot. He opens the notebook. He reads the first name: Goldberg, Sarah. Age 7. Occupation: none. Destination: Lodz. He closes the notebook. He stands up. He walks to the window. He looks out at the morning. Somewhere, in an archive in Nuremberg, 7 leather albums sit on a shelf. Exhibit 347A through 347G. The photographs are inside. The trains, the platforms, the children. Sarah Goldberg, 7 years old, holding her doll, waiting. She will wait forever now. Frozen in time. Frozen on the page. Frozen in the light of 1941. And Franz Zirach, the man who put her there, stands at a window in Vienna and watches the sun rise on another day. He does not know how many days he has left. He does not know what will happen when they end. But he knows her name. He will carry it with him. It is the only thing he has left. It is everything.